We're starting to think about our garden already, and you kind of have to when you're trying to produce as much food as possible from your garden. We're getting our seed starting shelf all put together. Today we're going to be doing soil blocks, and so we don't want to use all the plastic and stuff, so we're going to be converting to this way to do it. So we've got some peat moss in here, and that's going to be the bulk of our seed starting mix for the blocks. And I'm not going to get real super crazy about worrying about the ratios. I just want to get them real close. So it's approximately 3 parts peat moss here. So we're going to do roughly 2 parts of this vermiculite in here. And then so I wanted to show you guys this Vermicast, okay? So it looks like it's really super black, as you can tell. But what's really cool about this is this all was grass clippings, eggshells, coffee grinds, food waste, rabbit manure. And as you can see, I mean, these worms have just broke this down. And this is basically worm poop. So it's just Vermicast. And it's just this really black, super nutritious soil that's really great for plants. And because it has all those elements that I've added to it over time, it just contains a lot of different minerals and macronutrients that the plants need. So I'm going to be dumping about another part of this inside of here. And then our last thing is our nice rabbit pellets here. I'm going to dump at least one more part inside the mixture there. Now we mix it all together nice, and we start to add our water. Soak everything, stir it up, mix it up, and just kind of keep doing that until I get about the consistency of peanut butter. I just don't want it so wet that when I squeeze it, it drips through my hands. So we'll stir this up, and we'll kind of see where we're at and add from there. So I think we're about where we need to be. So it's kind of loose and loamy, but then when you take it and you kind of press it like so, it actually forms or holds its shape a little bit. So that's perfect, and that's about where we want it for soil blocking. So you definitely don't want it too saturated, like a muddy mess, but you definitely want it wet enough to where it's not gonna fall apart on you. So I think we're about where we need to be. So you just take your soil blocker and you start, without pressing down on anything. So you just I just like to push it in here and make sure it's all filled up. And if you got it moist enough, then you shouldn't have to worry about gaps and stuff. It should do a pretty good job of all pressing in there, but I just try to press it down a few times and get it completely filled up so that I got a lot of soil in there to work with. And if you don't get all the soil packed in there, then your soil blocks are basically just going to be half soil blocks. You just kind of have to throw them back in there and try it again and maybe get it a little bit wetter. So I've got all my blocks filled in here with soil, hopefully. So you just come over here and you're just going to give that a little press. And you'll have some water come out. And then you just pull with your fingers up. And then you're left with your little soil blocks here. There, and you can kind of see the indentation at the top there. And that's where you're going to throw your seed. And then you just come back with some soil and just cover that area there where you've put your seed. But these will just sit like so in my trays. This isn't my trays, this is just where I'm making blocks. But when I get these in my trays, I'll just we'll line these up, and then we can water these from the bottom. So we'll just place these blocks in here like so, and obviously, you know, they'll be all filled up, but I'm just using this one as an example. So they'll be all, you know, lined up there, and we plant our seeds and we cover it. And so when we water these, we can just pour water inside these trays, and that water will run down these ridges, and the soil block will just, that peat moss in there, and will all just soak up that moisture from the tray, and those roots in there will pull all that water in. And you just want to be, you know, careful not to always have water in here to where it causes an environment where, you know, the roots can rot. So you want it to kind of almost completely go to where the water is dried up again, and then you want to put water back inside of there and just keep a little bit of moisture inside that block so it doesn't get crumbly, and also so the plant doesn't dry out. So got our soil blockers here, and we got a couple different sizes that we like to work with. So these are the smaller ones, and we'll start everything out in the smaller ones. And so for our like cold weather stuff like broccoli, lettuce, cabbage, things like that we plant outside, these little ones, once they reach and grow enough, we'll put them right outside once we can work the soil, and they'll just go out like that, and we won't ever transplant them. And they actually make these really small ones that will go inside the larger ones, so that you don't actually have to transplant it. But for like our tomatoes and our peppers and things that are going to have to stay inside for a lot longer and wait till all the frost is gone, we're going to be using our bigger soil blocker here. And so all of the tomatoes and peppers will go directly into this one, and so they'll already have plenty of room to grow their roots, because their roots are going to take up considerably more.